effects of extreme weather on both coasts. Torrential rain hammering Vermont, widespread flooding, stranding vehicles, and a lot of roads shut down. That same weather system now targeting the Northeast. Flood watches in effect for more than 45 million people across 11 states. In the West, many states still grappling with dangerous heat, and at least 7 cities saw record high temperatures on Thursday. The worst of the heat will expand this weekend, stretching from the southwest right into the Rockies. Millions of people across Houston now still without power days after Hurricane Beryl. Those outages leaving the city pretty much paralyzed and also putting a lot of strain on hospitals. Our extreme weather team has it all covered for us. Let's begin with Liliana Pearson at our ABC station there in Houston. So what's it like there today?
Well, you can see right now it has just started downpouring, and this is really just the cherry on top of what has been 4 really hard days for people across the southeast Texas. After Hurricane Beryl came through the area, it knocked out over more than 2 million customers from power. You can see why that tree behind me there is one of the big reasons so many people lost power. This was a huge wind event. It brought down trees, it brought down power poles and power lines. We know that over 1 million people are back online, but there's still going to be around 20% of customers without power that are going to go into next week into the heat and the dark. This rain is bringing in humidity. It has been hot all week long, and it's only going to stay that way through the week. Really frustrating after a couple of years, and this year itself just in the spring of a couple really tough weather events.
All right, let's bring in, along with Liliana, our meteorologist, Dan Amarante. Dan, you've been tracking the dangerous heat, the storms, the floods. Where would you like to begin?
We'll begin in the East Coast, where it's just been pouring across the last couple of hours. And really yesterday, started to see some heavy rain as well. Now, the western heat wave, they also are just roasting out there. Look at those temperatures, 115 in Vegas today, 104 in Salt Lake City, even Denver joining the party at 101. Those heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in effect all across parts of the West Coast. So absolutely brutal in terms of how warm it's been, how hot it's been, and it isn't going to be moving to the east as we go on through the next couple of days here and heading into next week. Those feels like temperatures going up to well over 100 for a lot of areas. Now, it's just an important reminder that the feels like temperature, also known as the heat index, is how it feels when you factor in not only the actual temperature, but also the humidity. So we're going to have those numbers soaring. But as I mentioned, across the West Coast, it has been just uncomfortable, to say the least. Now, 9.5 degrees or so is how much the average low temperature has risen since 1970 in Las Vegas. So back in the 70s, your typical low temperature was in the low to mid 70s. Now the typical low temperature has already gone up to the low 80s in many areas. Now, Las Vegas had a low temperature this morning of 98 and a high temperature of 110. So as we said, this is not going anywhere. And luckily, in terms of the tropics, things have quieted down just a little bit, although we are seeing some of those tropical downpours across the east. But hurricane season does ramp up pretty quickly as we head through the month of August. So we'll try to enjoy
let's
this
tease that we're going to be
reprieve.
there.
Yeah.
All right, Liliana and Dan, appreciate you both so much. There's a lot going on. We were having some hits with Liliana's shot there. Sorry about that, and issues with your graphics, Dan. So we're trying to work on things behind the scenes. But you know what? We got the story out there. We got it covered. We're going to talk to you both throughout the day.
We can blame the heat.
There you go.
That's all the heat's problem.
The heat impacts everything, darn it, and the rain. Liliana, hang in there. All right, guys, we'll keep talking.